my mind went back to Daniel,
Yeah.
in Babylon. Super difficult situation. Um, I'm in Daniel right now for my personal devotions, and it's just amazing to me, how living in a very corrupt society, he's propelled to the heights, and and it's something that I'd never noticed before. After he interpreted this dream, after all of the wise men, which if you back up, talks about the wise men who they were all getting ready to be killed because they couldn't interpret this dream for the king. But the wise men, that term is describing a group of men who previously were described as magicians, sorcerers,
Hmm.
you know, uh, fortune tellers, that sort of thing. Well, Daniel, after he succeeds in this impossible task, he's put in a prominent place of authority and he's put in charge of these wise men. So, as a Christian, he is now the chief of a bunch of magicians and sorcerers and fortune tellers. How do you, as a Christian, take that task on? And now I'm in charge of this organization that's antithetical to everything that I believe. But he was. I don't know how he navigated that, but I do know that he didn't compromise any of his beliefs. Clearly, because just a couple of chapters later, he's in the lion's den.
Yeah.
Horrible consequences for just doing what he felt was right, and he didn't do it to cause problems. He just did it because that's what he always did. He always opened his window and prayed, and he wasn't going to change just because a law was created that prohibited him from doing it. So he didn't do it with any type of malice or any type of rebellious spirit.
Yeah.
Um, he just did what he always did because it was right, and it certainly had consequences.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I was going
different
to say
topic.
that's a parallel to, you know, Mr. Kirk's assassination. He wasn't. I don't think, and I hope nobody uh, thought I was implying that he was in any way trying to cause trouble, because I don't think that's the case at all. I don't think he was ever. He wasn't just going out there trying to stir up trouble for the sake of trouble. It's just that
Right.
there's something about truth. There's something about truth that just scares so many people, and maybe we can all relate to that at some level, and maybe that kind of bridge a gap between us and the people who are really living in the dark and not willing to accept any level of truth or not. Maybe there's a way to express that and say, look, each one of us has to come to grips with the truth, not just people on the left or trends or what have you. Every one of us have to come to grips with the truth.
Yeah, and part of that truth is that there's suffering in the world, and God allows that. And Jesus said there will be suffering in the world, and we are supposed to respond to that. We are supposed to go out and help those who are suffering. And we've talked about before, we don't do that enough. And I'm sure all three of us volunteer and do things for our church and for our community, but all of us could do more, and the church could do more. And if the church did more and lived up more closely to how Jesus challenged us to, there would be a lot less problems in society because we'd be helping the downtrodden and the widow and the fatherless a lot more than we are. And those are the people that need help, and they're not being helped enough. So who steps in? The government.
Yeah.
And the government doesn't do it well. It's inefficient, corruption, and not to demean people who are working in government who are helping in those things. They're doing yeoman's work, but it's not as efficient as people on the ground or churches on the ground in those communities who know those communities, that should know those communities, helping those people, and getting them on their feet as much as possible. Those who can be get back on their feet. So we're our own problem. We allow the problem to fester because we don't live up to the gospel. We never will perfectly, but we could get a lot closer to it, and it would absolve a lot of these issues that we're having, and then government wouldn't have to step in, or the people wouldn't ask the government to step in.